Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. 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 Yep.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Double Feature Versus. I am Anthony.
I am Brad.
Yup, in this one we're gonna kick it a bit old school. We're gonna take a classic, not a classic trope of an episode, but we're gonna do a WTF episode. Basically, take two films that are pretty unique and crazy in their creations and pit them up against one another, man. So I want to ask you, so with either of these films, today we're doing 1996 The Stupids versus 2006 Southland Tales. Have you seen either of these before?
I have not. I've seen scenes from The Stupids just because this one is John Landis, who has made a lot of the movies I love. So I've seen clips of this one, but I've never actually seen it straight out. Southland Tale, this is the first time I've ever even bothered to look at this one because I had heard of it, but I had never sat down or even watched clips or anything about it.
Okay. All right. Southland Tales I've seen before. The Stupids, it's kind of like I've seen previews of it. I remember on VHS tapes they would kind of show a preview of it before a movie, but I never actually watched it. Yeah, man, let's just get right into this, man. You want to start off with The Stupids?
I will start off with The Stupids, mostly because I wouldn't know where to go with Southland Tale. So I would definitely take the reins on The Stupids.
Right.
So The Stupids is a movie by John Landis from 1996 that follows the story of a family called the Stupids. The movie starts off very easily with the man of the household. I'm going to have to look up the names of all of them because I remember their last names, but Stanley Stupid.
Right.
Is on a conspiracy to figure out who's stealing their trash every week because they leave their trash out of the street and then mysteriously the next day it's gone. So he's trying to figure out the conspiracy, why it keeps disappearing. So he's doing that. The kids, meanwhile, find out that their father is missing. So the kids, Buster and Petunia Stupid, decide to go looking for their father, and in doing so they leave a note saying they have gone to the police because they think that their father has been kidnapped for their mother, which is a note that just says police kidnapped your children.
Right. Because when the son is writing a note, we think he's writing down every word his sister is saying, but he's just taking out keywords like the police kidnapped your children.
Signed your children.
Right.
Missed out signed. So he just put police kidnapped your children. So of course the mother, Joan Stupid, finds this and decides that the police, for some reason have kidnapped her kids. So they're against them for some reason. And the movie just snowballs from there with the plots kind of intersecting and different things happening. So Stanley ends up getting in on this actual conspiracy of like a weapons dealer selling in the junkyard, where the people that are doing this think that he's some kind of spy for the CIA or something, or some kind of elite force that they need to stop because he knows too much, when in reality he still thinks that they're just people that are stealing garbage. So
look, man, the way this film starts off, I just love how it takes this premise and it doesn't let go with it.
No.
Like these guys, these people really are stupid. But it's funny because every kind of dangerous situation they find themselves in, like their stupidity kind of saves them in a way.
Yes. So this is classic slapstick. This is pure slapstick at its finest.
It is.
I don't think it's going to be any mystery here that I absolutely love this movie. It manages to hit.
You would though. I kind of knew you would.
This one's right up my alley for like. I love slapstick. I love stupid slapstick. It's always going to be something I love. You know, the Three Stooges, I could watch that on repeat day in and day out, and I'd be the happiest person on earth. You know, like, and this falls right into that category. So
I love how again, the one-liners in this film are hilarious. I love how when he pulls out his notepad, the notepad says number one, go to number two. Number two, scratch this off.
Number one is what was it? Check mark. So he writes a check mark. Number two, scratch off something on the list. And he goes, oh, well, I'm not gonna get to that today. So he scratches it off. And number three was say, well, that's kind of strange, but I guess it is what it is. Something like that.
No, so he says that's kind of pointless, but whatever.
Oh yeah, that's kind of pointless, but whatever. So as he's putting away his notebook, he's like, well, that's kind of pointless, but whatever. And the best part is he doesn't even like check or cross that one off the list either, as if that's still on his list to do later.
Dude, you know what? There's some kind of stuff I like Tom Ronald in and some stuff I don't. This role is just perfect for him because he just has the perfect role of a clueless guy. Yes. That's just a well-to-do, normal, everyday guy that's just clueless. Like when he's there at the weapons meeting with the corrupt colonel who's trying to sell illegal weapons arms to, you know, like different people of different nations. They hold the binoculars on him, and he's trying to, like, I don't know, he's messing around with some kind of like wheel,
the inner tire or the inner like wheel of a tire. And he's just messing around with it, like the tubing for it.
Right. And they're like, we got to watch out for this guy. He looks dangerous.
Yeah. And he's playing a role somewhere. We don't know who he's with, but you can tell he's well trained.
I love how the multiple attempts they make on this guy's life fail miserably every time. Yeah. There's the one guy at the gas station. I think he wets himself with the gas station water hose, and then he does the air thing. And there was a guy that was about to cut him, and then he pushed the air down. He put the air pump on the guy, and the poison went in the guy's face or something.
Oh no, he doused the rag in poison, and then it ended up getting like pushed into his mouth as he was going to, you know,
put it in
strangle him with it. Yeah,
gotcha. Then there was the guy that there was somebody that put a bomb on his car, and he saw a bee, which led to another great pun from earlier on when the mom and the kids are reunited and they're in the newspaper. They're in
yeah, it's a newspaper.
No, it is. But I want to know what would you call it? The newspaper headquarters?
It would basically be like the newsroom.
The newsroom, and they looked at something on the computer after they made all the computers malfunction. Drive B, read error. No, drive B, fatal error. And then she said,
yeah, fatal error, drive B.
And then she told her husband, like, you need to watch out for drive B. What is that? We don't know. But if you come across it, it could be a fatal error.
And it's should be noted that they caused the error by trying to put like a photograph inside of a disk drive, which was drive B. So what they did is they literally caused drive B to crash, and that's what the error on the screen was fatal error on drive B.
Look, man, on top of that, and this is the one scene I believe really makes this film deserve its WTF rating. They cut to a scene like after the paper is printed, and it goes from like alien pilots picked up by HBO. It goes to two alien pilots pick their nose, and it has Stanley Stupid as, I think, the author of the article. I love how it gets sent to these two aliens in space.
Yeah. There's a newspaper. It's a print article too. It's not even like it's a digital thing. It's a print article that's now printed in space somehow.
And at some point, the two aliens, they're driving, and one is picking his nose, and then he looks at the article, and he just gets angry, and you don't know what he's saying, but you know he's saying, we need to catch this Stanley Stupid guy.
Yeah. They're mimicking like the slice the throat kind of thing. Like, we got to kill this guy. He knows too much, or he's mocking us, or something like that. And it's great. I completely forgot about that scene because that ends up coming in at the end for no purpose at all, too.
Dude, reason number 7 or 8 on why this is on the list. I love this part, man. When we go into Stanley Stupid's past of working as a mailman,
Oh
and
yeah.
he talked. The mother is telling her kids about how Joan Stupid is telling her kids about their father's past, about how he used to work for the government. And so one day he's working in the office. Well, let's talk about him on the day to day. He would take the mail, look for any place that had the numbers of like where your address starts, 547 or whatever, whether it be a sewer, a gutter, or a wood chipper, and he would just throw the mail in, thinking that's where he would put it.
The other great joke, it's incredibly racist, but god damn, it had me rolling, was when he passes by like the Asian kids and he goes, "Oh, finally," and he pulls out this letter that just has a bunch of Chinese written on it. He goes, "Here you go," and then walks away.
And they look so confused, like
they have no idea what's going on.
Right. And I love like when he's at work and he's putting all the mail in different envelopes, and he keeps seeing the same thing, return to sender. He goes to his boss and says, "Now listen, I have a theory here. This sender guy might be taking everyone's mail."
Yeah.
And you just see a cut scene of the boss's face looking like just giving him like a blank stare. And then she says, "Your father was then fired. We don't even know why." Like, I love this movie, dude. And I love
how they even had like a fake thing for like what he pictures the return to sender, or who sender is. Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much greatness about this movie. Even going back to like the gas station scene that you mentioned earlier, there's a one-liner that's great of, there was an assassination attempt on him, and part of that was the person shot a hole in the gas tank and it caused the gas to run out. So when he pulls up to the gas station, the attendant goes, "There's a hole in your gas tank," and Stanley just goes, "Yeah, that's how you get the gas in there." And he's so confident in it too, and it's so just I love this movie. This is such a great one.
This is what got me, man. The Frankie Faison scene, bro. When they're in the they're in the science museum, and they're in the
planetarium.
The planetarium.
Yes.
And they see all the stars. Like, are we in heaven? And this janitor comes by, and his name is Lloyd. They say, "Oh, we've been waiting to meet," because they think he's God. They'd be like, "Oh, we've been waiting to meet you." And we've been waiting to meet you, Lord. It's Lloyd. We've been saying it wrong this whole time. And I love how he's just a nice guy. I don't think he thinks anything's wrong with these people, but he's just being nice to them. He's like, "Oh, you guys seem like nice people." And then I like how the last thing he says is like, please tell people to not leave gum on the floor, and please remind them to pick up their gum. I like how in the end, when Stanley is kind of like captured by the military people, somebody just throws gum on the floor. He says, "In the name of the Lord."
Yeah.
He like breaks and escapes.
Well, the best part is this all happens in a museum, and while this is going on, Stanley is with Petunia. So Joan is off with Buster. Who they're going through like the dinosaur exhibit because they think that they went into a time machine, which was just an elevator that led them to like a prehistoric floor of the museum.
Right.
So this entire thing is they come out and everything. "So did you get anywhere?" "Well, in the last 20 minutes, we died, met God, and then he brought us back to life. How about you?" "We went back in time. Buster went insane with power, and then we ended up back here."
Then he goes, "Buster, sorry, Dad."
Sorry, Dad.
Man, that's funny, man. Another thing is, oh, dude, do you know how much "I'm My Own Grandpa" got stuck in my head?
That song is great.
It is.
I love that song, and I actually had to look it up to see if this was like the origin of that song, because I remember hearing that song before. And
really? I never heard that song before.
Yeah, well, it's the song that Futurama references with the whole episode of, Fry going back in time where they mock the whole Back to the Future thing.
Oh,
and
I don't.
The line, oh, well, look at, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not listening to you, mister. I'm my own grandpa, you know.
I don't remember that episode, but it might have came from this. I don't know.
But no, the song is actually apparently from like the 1930s. So this is just kind of like a cover of the song.
Yeah, did you know this is based off I don't want to say comics, but the Stupids are based off a series of children's books.
Is it? I didn't look it up to see.
Yeah, and it's basically, they were characters that they drew humor from the fact that they couldn't even like do the most simple concepts and tasks. So that kind of, that's the reason it was so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's from a group of children books. But yeah, I just love how he's like on this Jerry Springer show where everybody comes up with like controversial things that they've done. And he's trying to hold a cover because they're trying to figure out who Sender is, or they're trying to like find out. They're stalking this man whose last name is Sender, Charles Sender.
Mm-hmm.
So to I guess cause a ruse, he starts saying, well, I'm my own grandpa. You're your own grandpa? He says, yeah, and then he just goes into singing the song. And I love how catchy the song is. And everybody at first just kind of weirded out, and then everyone just joins in singing.
Yeah, or they're clapping along, like bobbing their heads back and forth.
Right.
It's such a great scene. Yeah, that song kind of got stuck in my head as well. But yeah, I love that entire thing where even on the other side you have Petunia and Joan on the other side of like this movie or this TV set, and they're basically interrupting this talk show with the audience cues where somebody's telling this like terrible story of how they got fired and everything, and Petunia's flicking the audience applaud signs on and off, so people are just applauding to her like losing her job and everything.
Right.
And
yeah, that the thing I like about this movie is that it never lets up on how stupid its subjects are. And I like, for one fleeting moment, like I don't want to say sanity, but rationality comes into the brain of one of the characters when Stanley Stupid goes to give his car mouth to mouth, and he gets he gets an electric shock for a few seconds. Like, what am I doing? I'm bringing my family into this conspiracy that could get us all killed.
That makes absolutely no sense. It's based on absolutely nothing logical whatsoever.
Right. And then the shock wears off, and then he's back to being stupid. And he gets the keys from his cartoon dog, which I didn't quite understand that.
We didn't even mention the cartoon cat and dog yet.
Right. And then they call the dog Kitty.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
I did. And the cat doesn't have a name. They never refer to the cat by anything.
Yeah, that's so random. Like, this movie is WTF royalty, because like everything in it is just so random and off the top, and just like not off the top. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but yeah. So like, there's the cartoon dog that roughs when something is wrong, or tries to get their attention when something is off. I don't know what the cat does really. The cat is really just the cat.
The cat just kind of exists there, in one scene it kind of just lounges around the house, and the next scene it shows up and it's lounging in the pool. It's being a cat.
Yeah, man. This whole thing starts off with them believing that someone stole their trash, which was the garbage truck, man. Like, I like how, and I don't mean to be all scattered all over the place here, folks, but I think to really give this film its WTF rating, we got to pull out different things. I like how when he's
this movie is scattered about. So for us to discuss it, we have to be all scattered about for it.
Oh man, if you think we scattered now, wait till we get to Southland.
Oh God, that movie. Yeah.
Listen, man, I like how at one point at the garbage dump site, he's in the bush, and this wouldn't work in any movie because it really was stupid. He was like half bush, half man. And then at one point, the garbage men turn and look at him, and he just stays still. And the garbage men just stare at him confused. And then they just drive off. And I like how in his own flashback in his mind, it worked. Like, they just saw
they didn't notice him at all. They just saw a bush.
And then you just see him pop out like he was hidden the whole time. I wonder what was going on in that garbage truck man's head. Like, what is this guy doing? Never mind. Let's just get back to work.
Probably
Let-
something along the lines of, I am not paid enough for this.
Like let him have fun, whatever. Let him have fun at the dump. Man,
Yeah.
that's so funny. What do you think of the final the final showdown?
Once again, it's slapstick at its finest. I absolutely loved it. I was rolling with some of those scenes. The son like trying to help and thinking that he's lifting the crate as it's going up on the crane to be lifted himself, like it him, trying to remember, I'm in the middle of the or I'm boxed in, I'm in the one part of the box, you're cornered, I'm cornered, that's the word, thanks honey.
I like how the mother gets down and she's like, "Oh, there's so much fire and stuff. Be careful, kids." She grabs one of the flamethrowers,
The flamethrower.
and then she starts like putting more like flame on the fire. She's like, "This is the worst fire extinguisher ever."
Yeah, it's this movie is just pure classic slapstick, and I love every bit of it.
Dude, the whole thing with Floyd's Deli, where she calls them up, trying to like find out where her husband is and trying to make sure he's safe. And then the deli guy says like, "Hey, no problem. We'll take care of everything," because he thinks they just want a large order because she forgot to cook.
Mhm.
And then when he shows up at the end, like, "You guys, you didn't put anything past me." And then he says, "Oh man, you must have a great boss." He says, "Yeah, Floyd is a pretty good boss." "No, Lloyd." He says, "No, my boss's name is Floyd. It's pronounced Lloyd." And the guy just looks at her like, "What?"
Yeah, it's there's so many weird callbacks in this movie that it makes to itself.
Yeah, man. I think everyone actually did great in this movie. Tom Ronald and Jessica Lundy as Stanley and Joan. The kid actors were pretty good too. Dude, this is the same kid from Little Rascals, ain't it?
It is. This is
Bug Hall.
what was his name in Little Rascals? I'm
Alfalfa.
blanking on it. Alfalfa, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a pretty good actor, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone did well in this movie, man, for how stupid it was and the material they had. This movie bombed back in the day. But I
saw the reviews for it and I was like, oh my God. But then I remembered slapstick humor isn't for everybody. This is a very like niche group of like comedy.
I know you could say that, but then again, didn't Dumb and Dumber do well?
Dumb and Dumber initially bombed critically. It just got a cult following after its release.
Fair enough. I guess you're right. Fair enough.
Slapstick usually doesn't do well in theaters, and then it usually finds a home on like media in some form, whether it's VHS, DVD, whatever was around at the time.
Right, I got you. Yeah, this is a great stupid movie. In the realm of things, I would give this a 4 out of 5.
Oh yeah, this is a 4.5 out for me. This one, I loved this movie. I was rolling, 95% of this movie I was rolling, and the other 5% I couldn't breathe. This was that kind of movie. It's incredibly stupid. I'm not going to say that this is like a well thought out movie by any means, but the comedy is so perfect in it that I absolutely love this one.
So the comedic timing is second to incredible. Like there's a moment where Joan Stupid she comes out of the wig shop and nothing but wigs, and she stands next to the officers like afternoon officers. They ignore her, and then she just
this
runs
is a point
over.
where she thinks that the police are after her because they kidnapped her kids.
Right. And then, they ignore her. And then she runs across, and then she stands in front of the police station like, "Got him!" And then she just runs in. I just love that, man. That whole
and then when she
funny.
runs into her kids, no, I'm your mother. Your mom's a Sasquatch lady? And this is Buster saying this to Petunia,
Right.
as if they don't have the same mother. It's some of the jokes are like layered that
Right.
it's there and it's like, oh, that's funny, but then you think on it more, it's like, oh, that's even stupider than it should be.
Right. Like when they're in the Chinese the Chinese cuisine restaurant, and the waiter's like, may I suggest the cashew chicken? You'll get the cash when we get our parents. And don't call us chicken.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because the delivery, or they had somebody giving out flyers and leaving them at doors, so they're like,
Right.
whoever left this wanted us to find this note, and it's just a menu for this Chinese restaurant.
Right, man. Man, this is such a stupid movie. I gotta mention one more thing. When he's talking to Charles Sender and he's a little lost, Charles Sender is lost trying to get home, and Stanley is like, "You didn't think I'd catch you, but I did. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Could you help me? Could you help me get back on the right track?" He's talking about getting home, and Stanley is like, "Well, if you go straight and you see the light, you can't mix it." He says, "Thank you, sir. I will take your advice."
Right. And so he thinks that he beat Sender, who's been stealing everybody's mail, that he's been intertwined in this conspiracy. I love that he still thinks that that's the conspiracy that he's figuring out when he's literally in the middle of like weapons dealings from the US government.
Yeah, man, this is just such a stupid movie.
It is.
But
it's stupid in the best ways possible.
Yeah, it's really in the name. Yeah. Did you know like a lot of directors kind of had cameo roles in this movie? Like David Cronenberg, Norman Jewison. It's like a lot of directors, I guess, that were hot around that time. But yeah.
I did notice that he had his son Max Landis in here. At when his son was just a little kid. He was the one doing graffiti.
Right. Yeah. I read
got covered in paint. That was his son. Mm-hmm. And I recognized him right away. And I was like, wait, that is Max Landis, isn't it? And then I was like, oh yeah, John Landis. This is Max. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, man. You ready to move on to this next one? Cause I feel like this is going to take up most of the episode, I think.
No, I am not ready to do this next movie at all.
All right, folks. Well, let's move on to the next one. Next one here. We got a 2006 film from director Richard Kelly, director Donnie Darko, called Southland Tales. If I could sum this all up in a sentence, man, I really say end of the world, amnesiac, popular actor who's married to somebody who's can't remember anything, but now has a relationship with a porn star turned activist. Then there's a cop who has a twin brother who is related to neo-Marxists. We got cars humping each other. We got Justin Timberlake lip syncing The Killers. Yeah, let's just get into it.
I think that's a perfect summary. We don't need to talk anymore about this movie because that cleared all of it up.
Dude, this movie is crazy, man. So the loose plot of this, because I think we would spend too much time going into everything, because this movie is like, as crazy and weird as it is, it's just so dense with its details. That's the thing about Richard Kelly, which I'll get into later. But anyway, so The Rock, which I believe, in my opinion, is probably one of his best roles. I'll get into that later. Okay. He plays Boxer Santero. So, like I said, he's an action star who is amnesiac. He doesn't remember much of his past. All he knows is that he woke up in some border of California and Mexico. No, he woke up in Mexico and crossed the border back into LA, and he's being there is a search for him that is being done by his mother-in-law, who is this very powerful woman, played by Miranda Richardson. Most of the time you see her in this film, she's surrounded by television screens looking for him. And I think they run US ident, which is kind of like a big brother. It keeps constant surveillance on citizens.
Yeah, it's a full surveillance system that monitors all of somebody's activities, their internet usage, blocks them from anything that the US deems inappropriate. Basically, this is like the Chinese firewall US edition.
Right. So he's in a relationship now with Krista. Hint, hint. Now, like her name is Krista now, but she's an adult film star who's working on a reality TV show, and she's also, them together. They're working on a script, and the script has some mystery to it and some truth to it as far as like some conspiracies about what's going on. This is a post World War III society, pretty much, and there's like a big election about to go down, and there's a lot of there's a lot of political tension going on, and Kristen now is in cahoots with some I want to say, would it be neo-Marxist, or is that the right term for them?
Yeah, I guess so, because they were kind of looking to take down the government, taking down like US ident.
Right.
And kind of return everything back to how it was prior to this universe's World War III.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So they're working with them, and but it turns out, as the film goes on, the neo-Marxists are working with Roland Taverner, who he's a police officer. He's a guy that's posing as a police officer, who has a identical twin brother, and he is working for the neo-Marxist group, who is kidnapped and drugged his brother. So he's working for them pretty much. So oh no, he actually was an officer. My bad. But yeah, his mind is a little loopy because he doesn't remember much things. So anyway,
he's also having like amnesia, just like Santos is, which was Dwayne's character. Right.
So he goes over to Boxer Santero's, Dwayne's character, and Dwayne Boxer is being told that he's filming him for research for their film, filming a police officer for research, and he's telling him like these crazy like racist like responses to his questions to kind of like throw him off and to seem like a really like badass cop. Anyway, they come to this little spat between these two actors, so to speak. It's Amy Poehler and Wood Harris.
Which is to say that they are acting in a way to get like it on camera that they died. Right. So that they'll have footage that a racist cop killed these like innocent people that were just having like a marital dispute.
Right. This movie is so dense and just crazy at the same time.
A lot of it doesn't make sense too.
That's the thing about this movie. I trust me, I'll get into it.
Okay.
Because I actually know the background behind this. Wallace Shawn, we'll just take a back seat sideways. So Wallace Shawn plays Baron von Westphalen. So he's kind of like the what do you call a Steve Jobs or a
like that entrepreneur, like that
entrepreneur,
tech lead,
innovator. He created this thing like where he uses ocean waves to create a source of power.
Yeah, it's infinite, or what is it? Perpetual motion.
So there's that, and then there's his girlfriend who is played by Ba Ling, who is Serpentine is her name. She's very ambiguous and very mysterious. So anyway, that's what we got so far. The thing about Richard Kelly, dude, if you look at something like Donnie Darko, which to me is a great movie.
I'd go in and say the same. Donnie Darko is a good movie. I wouldn't say it's like the greatest movie out there, but it's a good movie.
It's a great movie when you take in all of its mystery, all of its enigmatic sense and everything. When you watch the director's cut, it kind of takes a lot of mystery away, but you still enjoy it. You look at that movie, you look at a movie like The Box with Cameron Diaz. Richard Kelly is I'm gonna say he's a talented director, but he's very ambitious. Sometimes a little ambitious past his budget, or his ideas can kind of be a little bit more ambitious than his audience is willing to like kind of understand. Southland Tales, for all of its craziness, is a very long, ambitious movie. Like this movie has a lot of great, thought-provoking, strange ideas to it. You could tell
there's a lot of great plot lines in it.
Right.
The problem is they continually switch between these plot lines with the characters and try and like intermeld them in a way that just doesn't make sense. Like you have the story of Boxer Santanos, where it starts off where he's just trying to like get research for this movie, and then he gets intertwined into the neo-Marxists, and this leads him to this like dinner party where he meets all these people that like control the government, and then he finds out that he's actually been working for who is it, the Baron, who created the whole thing with using waves. But it turns out that he's actually been creating space-time portals by using perpetual motion, because it's causing the Earth to slow down its rotation. Like it just keeps going crazy. And that's just the story of Boxer Santeros. Then you still have the thing going on with Kristen now and her whole legion of neo-Marxists going on. You have the story of the brother Roland going on, and you know, him just trying to figure out everything that's going on, and then finding his brother is, you know, kidnapped and stuff like that. And it's just the movie just keeps going, and it doesn't take us time to stop, and it keeps interweaving everything in the ways that don't make sense.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel like you dropped into the middle of a story when you watched this movie? Like you dropped.
I feel like I dropped into like an acid trip that I didn't take the acid for.
Dude, let me tell you the background on this story. So Richard Kelly, when he first started writing the script and going into like pre-production for this, he realized that this whole universe he created of like a post-World War III society was like very large and like had like it was like a deep universe. So, and this is what I mean. He's an ambitious dude. Like he was kind of ahead of his time at the time this was made. Like I want to say around 2005. I know it released in 2006, but I think it was made around 2005 or maybe around there. He thought, you know what? Let's make 3 graphic novels as kind of like the prequel stories for this film. That way we can like have everything centered around these characters and how they got to this point, and then people can watch the movie. The thing was, the graphic novels weren't really marketed that well, and at the time, no one's gonna read graphic novels in 2006 before to go see a movie or as official tie-ins to the movie. So like that's why all the chapters are listed 4, 5, and 6 instead of 1, 2, 3. So anyway, they bring this film unfinished to Cannes Film Festival, and so at the festival, he's giving out like 100 or so copies of like the first graphic novel to the film, which starts off with chapter 4, and everybody's confused. Dude, this film gets booed. Like this film got booed heavy at Cannes, and this was like an unfinished version of this film. This is like
that's almost impressive on its own, because I think we've talked about it before, and it's like when it comes to the shows, you know, when a movie gets a standing ovation, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's the standard, you know, that's nothing special.
Right. To get booed at Cannes, that says something.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, long story short, there are like 3 graphic novels out there that serve as like the preludes to this film. But I'm like, I never read the novels, but I'm like, if you don't read those graphic novels or read a synopsis of them, this film makes no fucking sense. Like you can follow what's going on. You see it in front of you, but like putting it all together is kind of like a maze and doesn't make much sense. But apparently the graphic novels, you know, they explain what happened to Boxer out in Mexico. They explain the thing with what's the officer's name? Sean William Scott's character and his twin brother.
You're talking about Roland Taverner?
Yeah. Roland and Ronald. Yeah, Roland and Ronald. They explain that. Yeah, it was just, this is what I mean by too much ambition. Like graphic novels were a great thing and it was a great idea, but again, he was kind of ahead of the curve with that. And that's why I feel like that's why the film failed. One, because people couldn't really understand. It's a very tough film to get through, especially with its wackiness and over the topness. But yeah, like there were a lot of things that went into the making of this film where, you know, Richard Kelly was very like passionate about this movie and passionate about putting everything into it. He's just like his ambition kind of overclouded his work, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the best way to describe watching this movie is you have 3 puzzles in front of you and you have none of the boxes and you're trying to solve all 3 puzzles at the same time. There's just so much information in front of you constantly coming at you that it's hard to discern what's important and what isn't. And the movie to me just ended up just getting so garbled that things would happen and I'd go, okay, okay. You know, none of this is processing anymore. This is just pictures are moving on the screen.
I don't know what's going on, but I'll just roll with it. I came this far.
Pretty much.
Like, listen, man, this is your first time watching this. This is like my second time. The first time I watched this, I was really like, okay, oh, Dwayne Johnson's in this movie. This movie wasn't advertised enough. I wonder how this is. Oh, the guy that made Donnie Darko made this. I watched it, got done watching it. Okay, now I know why this movie wasn't advertised enough.
I know why nobody's talking about this movie, because nobody knows how to talk about this movie.
No one knows how to talk about this movie. Look, man, before we get into the meat and potatoes, there are some pretty great, like, well-directed scenes in this movie. Like, I like the Justin Timberlake lip syncing the killer sequence. I like that when he takes the drug and he goes into that little woozy drug sequence where he's singing a song and you got all the women dancing around him. I like how after Rebecca Del Rio sings the national anthem, there's that one moment like towards the end when the ice cream truck is lifting and you know, like The Rock is dancing on stage with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Mandy Moore. I feel like that's like a beautiful sequence. Like there are beautiful moments in this movie, but it's like when you don't really comprehend the meaning behind these moments or what kind of led into them, it leaves much to be desired.
Yeah, there's a lot of very good direction in here, but it's a well-directed mess is the best way to describe it.
One of the few movies that actually put John Lovitz in a very like creepy role, man.
Yes.
Like this dude shows up as a police officer. I'm like, oh, John Lovitz, this is gonna be funny. But he just came off like very serious when he came up.
No jokes at all. He just comes in. No, I'll help you with this investigation, and then he shoots 2 people, and then that's the end of his scene.
I think you need some backup.
Yeah.
And then he comes in, he shoots the guys, and I love how the one dude, he's just like delayed. He's like, oh, and he shoots the fake blood effects after he shoots him. He misses his window, and that wasn't even his last scene. I think his last scene was coming back with old girl when they were trying to hunt down Krista.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, like this was the one movie where I'm like, dude, he looks menacing in this movie, man. Mm-hmm. Like no jokes at all. He not even his classic John Lovitz voice. And I like how at one point he stands behind Zora, and he's like, you want to fuck or watch a movie? Because he's in love with the girl. And like he just says it like so menacingly. I love how the one guy who was doing the blood effects, he has said to the lead Marxist girl, like, hey, I kind of don't want to be attached to any of this, so can I go home?
Oh yeah. Like there's some funny scenes with this, and it's just, but the rest of this movie is just, it's hard to get through. I gotta admit, this was a hard one to get through.
All right, man. Time to get to the meat and potatoes of what makes this WTF. Let me get to the top moment, dude. Now, this is why I love The Rock in this movie. because he sincerely looks like a man that doesn't know what's going on. And I don't think that's Dwayne Johnson. I think that's him like really sinking into the role of a guy that just like when he does like this and he gets his hands get nervous and he starts talking to himself, I really believe like he's freaking out.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, like I really believe like he doesn't know what's going on. And I like this one scene where the one woman, I guess she works at the place where his mother-in-law has been looking for him, and she's really sunk into the script that he co-wrote. I like how she meets up with him one point, and she says, I want to suck your cock. If I don't suck your cock right now, I'll blow my brains out.
I will kill myself. Right. And they're in the middle of a beach. This is a packed beach, and she's just screaming this. This is where Justin Timberlake uses a sniper rifle to take her out. And that's the kind of movie this is.
Right. Like, yeah, he takes her out. And I love how just, you know, he switches into this persona of this character he wrote in the script. And then he immediately comes out of it when she threatens to kill herself, starts doing the like finger twitchy thing because he's like, okay, what do I do here? This is getting a little scary. And I like how towards the end, he keeps repeating the phrase, I'm a pimp and pimps don't commit suicide.
Oh, that's right. Because he was told that so this is after it's revealed that he's like a double from the future that got sent back in time through one of these time warps. And a part of it was his present self committed suicide. So there weren't two of him.
Right.
And so he's doing this whole, no, I would never commit suicide. I'm a pimp. Pimps don't kill themselves.
Right. It's just like it's like whatever. Yeah. I don't know what that means, but like whatever. Apparently Kevin Smith was in this movie. Did you notice him?
He was. I recognized his voice as soon as I didn't recognize him. He played the old man, like as soon as The Rock got out of that elevator and he's like pointing the gun. He was the old man that was like, put down your side piece. Put down your side piece. Listen to me. Put down. And I remember seeing the scene and going, I recognize the voice. I recognize that voice. Why do I recognize that voice? And he was talking later. I was like, that's Kevin Smith. And I immediately Googled Kevin Smith, Southland Tales, and it came up right away. I was like, dead on.
They were just the most random people in this movie. Like, Janine Garofalo was like in a one like cameo scene. I think she had more scenes in the movie, but they were cut by the time they finished and sent this movie out. Will Sasso is in the beginning. Christopher Lambert, Highlander, is driving the ice cream truck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many like random people, like they just play random roles in this movie. And dude, that whole sequence at the end with the ice cream truck. I remember I was watching this movie and I was like, man, there's something really important happening here, but I just don't understand it. You know, like
for me, I was already so checked out. I was like, yeah, that seems about right for now. It makes no sense, but I accept it at this point.
Like the dudes like holding their hands and like all of a sudden the ice cream truck starts levitating. The guy on top, which made no sense, like shot the missile inside the place where all the rich people were, including The Rock's character. And then, you know, it's just like, and again, pimps don't commit suicide.
Yeah.
Which this movie is being narrated by JT this whole time, because why not?
Oh yeah, Justin Timberlake doing the most monotone, boring voiceover I've ever heard in a movie before.
I don't think it was that bad.
It sounded like they had a gun to his head and they were just like, read the script. And he was just like, okay, so you're probably wondering what's going on here, aren't you? Well, this is a story about how a man that has no idea about his memories got intertwined with a neo-Marxist group. Like, it's such a monotone, boring, like there's no excitement. And it almost comes off as funny in some scenes because of how boring the voiceover is versus what's going on.
You know,
it almost comes off as comical, but then you realize, no, it's not meant to be funny. This is funny because it's just that bad and mixed for what they're going for.
I'll be real here, man. I kind of took it as him just like hey, read this script, but read it gruff. It was post World War III. Everyone had lost hope. Boxer Santeros found himself on the edge of California. That's how I felt Justin Timberlake was reading the script. And I was like, okay. And then you kept hearing that same tone the whole film, even through kind of like, I guess, like kind of upbeat moments. You were like, dang, he's still holding the grave tone, huh?
And
like
then later, Christian Bale heard that and was like, there's my Batman voice. I got it. That's what we're doing.
I got you. Any more moments you want to single out, man? I'm trying to think because I know there's a lot in this movie. Oh yeah, the car humping scene. What'd you think, man?
I was confused as to what was going on because it just cuts right to this like animated car, and then it just basically goes to a sex scene between two cars, and then it zooms out. It's like it's a commercial for the Trier's vehicle, which Trier is the villainous company in this movie.
Right.
And it's just like, what is this movie? This is insane. Because that happens fairly early in the movie, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, like it was a commercial that was on TV, and somebody was watching the television, and that was the commercial that was on.
Yeah, it needs to be mentioned that this movie continually goes to the point of U.S. ident, like viewing from them, where they're watching all TV, all people, everything. So you'll see basically these screens of just multiple monitors where you're seeing like people, commercials, different things going on, cameras, like street corners, everything. And we'll get these weird little snippet breaks where they just show us random nonsense, like the car sex commercial for some reason.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to bring up a funny exchange, like when Boxer Santeros is finally reunited with his wife, Madeline Santeros, played by Mandy Moore, who is the daughter of Senator Bobby Frost, who's trying to run for re-election and whose wife is like the main villain of the film, running U.S. ident. Mm-hmm. I like how at one point she has a copy of one of the porn stars' videos, like "Cock Chuggers 2? Are you kidding me? Cock Chuggers 2?" And then Boxer thinks from me, he says, "Hey, can I see that tape?" No, you can't see the tape. And I like how the one guy who's like the senator's advisor is like I think he says Ghost Chuckers 2. She's like, I'm not in that one.
Oh yeah.
And then one of the porn directors happens to be, I don't know if they're like a part of the Marxist group, but they're part of the organization to destroy U.S. ident. That whole storyline was a little confusing.
I just figured he was a part of the neo-Marxist group with the porn stars.
No, not he. It's a she. Nora Dunn. She used to be on SNL, but she's like a porn director, and she was like talking with Kristen Niles' character. But you know, they turned out to be a part of the company. They turned out to be a part of US IDEF that wanted to take down US ident. They might have been working with the Marxists. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Another weird scene. I want to say it's like right before the scene I mentioned. Like Boxer ends up in a library or something, and then he comes across Wallace Shawn's character Baron von Westphalen and this other like weird looking lady, and they start talking about his script, and they're like, "Yes, your script is very interesting," and it's like it's such a weird, creepy scene. But I'm like, this feels like a scene from a whole nother movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like
there were a couple scenes like that too, where it felt like it was out of place in this movie.
Like this is it's like you said, this is a well-directed like mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pieces really don't form the whole when you look at this film. But I gotta say, I don't hate this movie. I love how over the top. Would I watch it every day? No, but would I say?
I mean, if you watch it every day, eventually you might understand it. So there would be a positive to that.
Eventually you would create your own meaning, like, I get it now.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what that meant. But I mean, I think for what it is, it's not a total bad movie. I would honestly give it a 3.
I'm on the opposite spectrum. I did not enjoy this movie. I did not think it was a good movie. I was just confused and hoping that eventually it would end about after I gave this movie a solid 45 minutes of just going, okay, it's gonna kick in. Maybe I'm just missing some context here. It's gonna kick in. And then after that, I was just like, you know what? Eventually the credits are gonna roll. If I can just make it until the credits roll, I think I'll survive. And then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? If as long as it's still going. Why is it still going?
Yeah, it really is an overlong movie. This movie is like 2 hours and a half. No, it's not. No, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours. But it feels like 7 or 8. So, we've talked about how like the Batman was a 3-hour movie that didn't feel like a 3-hour movie. This was a 2.5-hour movie that felt like it lasted 8, maybe even 12 hours. And the best praise I can give this is it does have a lot of well-directed scenes. It is a very well-directed mess, but it's still a mess. And it makes no sense. And even the scenes that do make sense don't make sense in this movie.
So what do you give it?
I had to give it like a 1, maybe a 1.5, because like some of the actors were good, the direction was good, but just everything else around it was just no.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Look, man, I watched this movie with a little bit of a stomach bug. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, I remember this movie is a little weird. But then when I settled into it, I was like, all right, 30 minutes in. Okay, I got 2 more hours of this weirdness. And I gotta like shift my position every 20 seconds because my body is aching. Oh, this must be what torture is.
You sure that was a stomach bug and that wasn't just the movie making you do that?
No, it was the stomach bug because like again, like my second time watching it, I guess the initial shock wore off and I kind of knew what to expect. I said, okay, this is a weird movie. Let me see if I can decipher kind of what's going on here. And I did. It was like when you watch Donnie Darko the second or third time, you kind of catch on to certain things. Again, same director. There are a lot of things playing at hand that are bigger than the movie. You just kind of have to focus and find out what it is. Again, like I said, his ambitions sometimes cloud his work, but Richard Kelly is kind of a unique director. That being said, man, I think this belongs on the WTF scale. I guess if we do the verses, the Stupids came out as the winner this time around.
Yes, the Stupids definitely wins out over Southland Tales, which is both high praise for the Stupids and doesn't really mean much when we're putting it up against Southland Tales.
Yeah, it's just a very grim movie. It's a grim movie. Like, I can understand how 2 hours and 30 minutes of like, Marxist groups, corrupt politicians, I can get how that can get a little overwhelming. But I think it's a unique movie, man. I think it's unique for what it is.
It is a unique movie. And I can say like, if you were to read the synopsis to me, I'd be like, oh my God, that sounds like a great movie.
Yeah.
But like the synopsis is there. The plot is there. The story just isn't.
Right. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You seen anything lately?
I did finally watch Peacemaker, and I finished that series.
Oh yeah, okay. I think last time I talked to you, you said you started it, but so now you finished it. So
I have finished it.
Does it lead into any? We don't have to give spoilers, but does it lead into anything big? Anything should we watch it before we watch anything next in DC or?
I don't think so. I think this pretty much has its own like standalone story.
Okay.
So if you decide to skip it, I highly recommend checking it out because the show is hilarious and it's a really fun show. I can say that. Like if you enjoyed the Suicide Squad, you'll enjoy Peacemaker because it's more of the same, just focusing solely on Peacemaker.
Okay. Yeah, I heard good things. Dude, I recently saw this very short British miniseries called Time with Sean Bean and Stephen Graham. Sean Bean doesn't die. All right, so let me get that out the way.
Okay.
I know there's always the stigma that he dies in everything he's in. He doesn't die in this one.
Are you sure
Uh,
you finished the series?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Last time I checked out, I ended episode 3, and that was the last one. But it's pretty great, man. It's about Sean Bean plays a person who has just been sent to prison for a crime he committed, and he's adjusting to life in the prison. And Stephen Graham plays a prison guard, pretty much the prison guard captain who gets entangled with one of the prisoners who is threatening to bring some harm to his son, who just got in prison at another facility. It's a pretty good show, man. It's called Time. If you can find it anywhere, it's a very, very like short watch. Like I said, 3 episodes, and it's a very well done.
Is it on a streaming service or?
I don't know. I have to look that up really.
Okay.
But I know when I caught it, I just caught it out there. It was pretty good. On top of that, I finally caught A24's latest film, Red Rocket.
How was that one?
That one was actually pretty good, man. It was different from what I expected. It's made by the same guy that made the Florida Project. I don't know if you remember that movie.
I remember that movie, that very vaguely. That was the kind of one that came around the same time as like Project X or whatever, right?
Nah. Way after that. It was one of the recent ones. It had William Dafoe in it. It had that little girl that everyone liked that starred in the movie. I mean, if you saw it, it came on around 2017.
Oh, yes, I recognize. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, same director. Really good, man. I would recommend it. I think it's a nice, odd A24 movie. Its director has made, like, the Florida Project in its own way was kind of like a beautiful, odd movie. But this one is about a guy. He's a former porn star. He returns to his hometown in Texas. Nobody pretty much wants him back because he's just annoying. But anyway, he comes there, and he's living with his wife because they're still legally married, in her mother-in-law, while trying to hustle and get some money together. He meets this young girl and kind of starts like an inappropriate relationship with her, and it just shows how this guy he's not really like a great protagonist by any means, but he's very compelling in that, again, he's just a guy that's how do I best explain this? He's a hustler, but his ambitions kind of like Richard Kelly, his ambitions kind of cloud his effort. He's always looking for the next scam, the next move, the next way to get back to the top. And it's hard for me to explain this movie because it's such a crazy movie to kind of like summarize. You kind of have to just watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, but Simon Rex, who's in the lead role, does a great job. He's the dude from Scary Movie 3 that was like kind of parodying. He was kind of like being a parody of Eminem from 8 Mile. I don't know if you remember that movie.
I remember that movie, but I can't picture that scene specifically.
You know him if you search for him.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah, man, I would recommend you watch that movie. It's a pretty nice, weird, unique A24 movie.
Okay. Typically A24 like knockouts. I can't think of many A24 movies I didn't enjoy.
I think if I really thought hard about it, I could find some duds, but like most of the time,
I know that there are some because I remember seeing some movies and going, wow, A24 really picked that one up. But off the top of my head, I can't think of what they are right now.
Gotcha. But yeah, man, I would say very well done movie. It's a very it's a very complicated, like there's a very morally complicated protagonist at the center of the story, but that's what kind of makes it interesting too, to see like where this is all going, what comes next. But I would recommend it, dude.
Okay.
Other than that, man, that's pretty much it for me.
So I think that wraps up this episode.
All right. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. And remember, pimps don't commit suicide.
Nope. Yep.